guys, what's up? We are back from Branson, and I just wanted to share a fun little story that happened while we were there. Um, because we had not planned on going on vacation, this came up rather suddenly. We had not saved up for it or anything like that. Plus, my husband and I are both sort of fundamentally against going and paying for what I lovingly refer to as tourist traps. We both grew up right around Disneyland, and it was just, something we avoid doing. So we were bound and determined that we were going to spend as little money as possible on entertainment type things. So what we did do was we toured a winery, gave them a little bit of my money, but it was a lot of fun and really, really good wine. And then I got this little kitschy house thingamajigger, which I'm supposed to be decluttering, but don't tell anybody. Anyway, so we ended up, somebody at his work, I believe, told him about this place called Top of the Rock. And so we drove up there, and it's supposed to be, you get into golf carts and you tour around this area. It's supposed to be really, really pretty at twilight, things like that. But we got up there and got in line, and as we're reading, we see that it's $60 a person, not even per cart. And we're both like, no, they estimated it between half an hour and 45 minutes to do this tour. And we just thought, no, just not, not worth it. So as we are driving back through Branson to where we were staying, we were talking about, maybe we'll jump in the pool or something like that. And the day before, I had seen this sign that said, Lakeside Wilderness Area. And it looked, kind of like some parks around where we live and things like that. And I said, let's go check this out. Let's see what it is. So we pull in, and there's some shelters, some picnic shelters set up. And there's also a huge sign with a bunch of like nature hikes and trails and things like that on it. And off in the distance, when you look at this map, you could see a lake. And, anybody that knows me knows I'm all about the water. I want to, be around it. I want to hear the waves. I love smelling the smells and just all of that. And so we were going to go on a hike and get to the water, and it looked to be like the perfect solution to what we were going to do with our day. What I should mention is where we were staying, we had used their fitness center that morning. So we'd worked out, and so it wasn't like we were looking to exercise or anything like that. We just wanted it to be a nice, pleasant day hike, go down, let Meredith see the water, something like that. So my husband took a picture of the map of the trails, and he studies it and decides, okay, so we're going to take the purple trail down. It's supposed to jog sort of along the lake, and then we will go off the purple trail into where it cuts off into the red trail. And I'm, great, fabulous, wonderful, let's do it, let's go, come on. And the trail starts off with 338 stone steps that were carved out. It was an executive order by Theodore Roosevelt when he was attempting to make national parks and also funding jobs for people who were without work. And so this was kind of a mix-up of that, like the unemployed got to help with making these national parks and things like that. So these steps are carved out of stone, just pure stone, and therefore they are incredibly inconsistent. They're like, you had some that were, were maybe 4 inches, and then some that were, maybe more like 16. And so there's a lot of like, compensating for that, and there's a lot of going around and a lot of straight down and no handrails. And you look over and it's just sheer cliff. And I'm thinking the entire time, this is like my worst nightmare. But, following along behind my intrepid husband, the trail master, and we're walking. And as we're walking, I'm noticing we're not kind of veering towards the lake. We're walking straight. And if anything, we might be on like a slight, bend away from the lake. but you know, we're doing okay. We're seeing the trail signs, the purple markers and all of that stuff. And we see 8, 9, 10. And we got to trail marker 19, purple 19. And David turns around and says, there is no 20. And I'm thinking, oh, some kid stole the sign or something. And I said, what do you mean? There's no 20. And he said, no, on the map, the purple trail stops at 19. And so we had obviously at some point missed the red trail cutoff. Also, we hadn't yet seen the lake. I heard like, you know, jet skis and things like that, but couldn't get to it to save our lives. So the obvious thing to do is turn around, backtrack. You know, he starts pulling up the map a little bit closer on his phone, and the red trail was supposed to intercept purple right after trail marker 8. So we get there and we're looking around and we're not seeing anything, and it's, you know, a little irritating, a little like, you know, I also forgot to mention it was 102 degrees out there, and because we thought this was just going to be a little quick trip down to the water and a little quick trip back up, we had no water with us, no sunscreen, nothing, and I was just wearing like regular flimsy tennis shoes. And the deeper we got onto the purple trail, the more intense the hike became, to the point that it was classified as a difficult trail, which it definitely was. But we get to where the red trail is supposed to be. And, you know, David's looking around, I'm looking around, still haven't been to the lake, right? And that's when I just want to go to the water. I just want to go to the water. And he said, I think I see a flat surface up there. And so he literally is like rock climbing up to get to this trail. And he's, oh, yeah, it's here. Come on, it's here. And I'm thinking, no part of a moderate trail should have you scaling a rock face. But he lifts me up there and off we go. And I personally think we were walking on a deer trail, but whatever. And so we were walking, and pretty soon it's starting to narrow and to the point where at one point we had to turn sideways and sort of shimmy our way along. And then I hear from my intrepid trail master a very naughty word. And I'm like, what? You know, scared, like there's a bear or something like that. He goes, the trail stopped. And I said, what? And he said, the trail ends right here. And I mean, there was no doubt about it. It was mountain. Like I smack into the mountain. And he turns around and looks at me and says, we have to backtrack. We're going to have to backtrack the purple trail all the way, which, mind you, we had already completed the purple trail once, all the way back and back up the steps and to our car. And at this point, what was supposed to be a 20-minute trip has now turned into a 2.5-hour trip. I'm sunburned. I'm so stupid thirsty. It's not even funny. All I could think about then was I'm going to have to walk up those 338 steps. So I strung together a very creative sentence full of 4-letter words. And I mean, what was I supposed to do though? I couldn't like sit down and say, nope, not doing it. You know, I can't do it. Sorry. You're going to have to airlift me out of here or whatever. So we go and we turn around and we're like, we scaled back down, got on the purple trail, thank God, walking along the purple trail, and these folks are coming down the steps right as we got to the bottom. And we clearly looked horrible. We were sweating, we were dirty, we were, you know, David was bright red, and I'm sure I was too. You know, it was just, I'm sure we looked horrible. And one of the ladies there, you know, I almost mugged them for their water, but I didn't because that would have been really bad. She goes, oh, don't worry, guys, you're almost there. And I just, you have no idea what I've been through. And so we're going up the steps, and, you know, we have to stop every so often because my legs are shaking, and Dave's breathing really hard. We finally get up there, and there's a family at the picnic shelter that are looking at us like, okay. And we go over to the restrooms, the public restrooms, and they don't have a drinking fountain. And I'm just thinking, ugh, what else? So we get in the car, go to the closest gas station that we can find. We go walking in, you know, like grabbing Gatorade and water bottles and all of this other stuff. And Dave said, look at your shorts. And I looked down and I had sweat so much and just sweated through all of my clothing. But there was a particular pattern on my shorts that made it look like I had wet myself. Like, you know, I was just so done with whatever. I wasn't even going to find a tree to go to the bathroom or anything. And I just wanted out of everything that happened. And the fact that I still didn't get my water, I was so humiliated because I thought people were going to think I peed myself. And I didn't. I just sweated. Yeah. So we just kind of like, we were zombies after that, and we're drinking our water and our electrolytes and doing all this stuff, and we get back to the hotel, and it was kind of like, well, that just happened, and what was supposed to be a 20-minute hike turned into like this 4-hour ordeal. And it was just like, we talked about, are we gonna go out to dinner? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do that? We were both starving, hungry. But neither one of us could move. We talked about going into the pool. Again, neither one of us could move. And it was just like, how stupid can you be, right? I backpacked my entire life with my dad. He taught us so much about hiking. Dave was the cub master and had to go to all of these classes about hiking and camping and all of this stuff. And the fact that we like went without water, without letting anybody know we were going, without a clear like trail map that was paper in front of us, it was just a little picture on a phone, just it makes me wonder just how stupid we were. And you know, in pursuit of trying not to get into a tourist trap, we almost died. No, we didn't almost die, but it was scary. But because everything ends in a happy story in my life in Branson, we did the next day go to Table Rock Lake, and I did get to see my water and listen to the waves. I recorded about a minute sound clip of just the waves lapping and all this stuff. They had beautiful trails, well-marked, beautiful trails that I actually went off of twice because I found some seashells to keep. But it was just, you know, that's the story of us in Branson. We didn't want to go to a show, didn't want to go to the Titanic Museum, don't get me started on that. Didn't want to do any of the touristy stuff, so instead we decided to just like put our life on the line. And it's funny now, it wasn't then. I officially revoked Dave's Trailmaster credentials, and yeah, so I'm really happy to be home, happy to have my bottle of wine and all of that stuff. And I just want to remind you guys to be kind to one another always, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.